good evening, and welcome to the Oz and Mini podcast, episode 7. And we are joined by our co host.
It's still offline.
Myself,
Yeah,
the mini moise.
yeah,
I'm still
There
fine.
we go.
I'm still ain't introducing you. You do realise this.
Yes, I do know that. Hello.
Oh, I
Yeah,
am
our
introducing my
guest.
guest. Our sole guest today is Celegorm.
Yes, hello. Hi,
And
that's me.
today we are sponsored by the WLTM L1 Group YouTube channel. Watch podcast episodes of the Oz and Mini podcast at this YouTube channel. Link in the
Yeah.
description below. And also on the
Yes.
screen. So yes, in the advent of the GCSEs and A-level results having been released recently, and how terrible or great your lovely, lovely grades were.
We're here to talk about it.
Yeah, and we're also here to talk about how we have experienced education at
Yes.
varying levels, and how we can import our wisdom onto you guys, especially how we are, um, how we have dealt with the grades that we have received.
And we're also going to further our conversation into different ways of learning and how learning could differ for different subjects and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that is our plan.
That is our
That's the
plan.
plan.
So,
Let's
should
hope
we
we
kick
stick
it
to it.
off?
I
Should
think
we
we'll.
kick it off by talking to Celegorm? Why don't you talk us through your education path? You can add as much or as little detail as you want. Just tell us a bit about it.
Okay, well, I'll talk about where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I've just finished my first year at college. And I have just done a realistic experience waitering course, which means I basically had to do work experience, and I also waited on real customers whilst working in a restaurant based inside the campus. But before that point, I have actually been to two different primary and two different secondary schools, and every single one of them I loved. I loved the teachers, I loved the education, and I found it very interesting most of the time.
Yeah, that's quite nice. So,
Yeah.
you say you're now in college.
hmm
So, how did GCSEs go? Do you want to expand there?
My
I mean, everyone's
GCSEs,
yeah.
yeah. So up until year 10 and 11, I had been a very carefree child, let's say, where
Mhm.
I I um I didn't pay attention in class and instead played
Oh,
Minecraft on
wow.
at every break.
This is nice.
But when year 10 came around and I actually had to choose my GCSEs, I chose the more creative side. I chose drama, art, cooking, and computer science, the harder of the two computing courses that my secondary school offered. And so I, because I was finally able to choose what I wanted,
Mhm.
I actually knuckled down and probably
Did some
increased my
work.
productivity quite a lot.
Nice. And that
Yeah,
got you
but
to where you are now.
yes, it did. Unfortunately, that ended me up with a failing grade in one of those courses.
Well, you can't pass everything.
True.
No, but especially when the course. So the one I failed in was drama,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, the reason I failed was because I was the only technical student out of the whole class. So unfortunately,
Ah.
the uh, the class is only about like 14 people, But unfortunately, because I was the only one, the teacher couldn't tailor me or give me any spare time, considering she had other classes to attend to other than her GCSEs classes. So, yeah, it's unfortunate.
But it's too late now.
It is too late now because you can't redo core subjects.
Yeah.
But that's fine because drama was my throwaway subject.
That's good.
Okay.
I was about to say it reminisces to the title. Fail, no problem.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm still doing great.
Yeah, and this
Can
is
I just can I just take a moment to introduce Finn, who's just joined us?
somehow.
Hello.
Oh,
Yes,
Who
hi,
magically.
Finn.
Yes,
has
he
been on
is
other
also
podcasts before.
another guest, and
Yes.
A very late guest.
He very quietly
He's
slid
late.
through the side door.
I mean
Yeah,
he
I think
likes
I
sliding
got
through
those
side
two
doors at
things.
this rate anyway. So,
Yeah, I like to be a slider.
talking of sliders, when are you making us some?
Yeah, we want
I
freestyle.
don't quite get the question there.
Sliders are
A type of
sandwiches.
shoe.
Yeah, they're a type of sandwich.
What?
And a
Ooh.
type of shoe.
Yes.
No, those are slides. Oh,
Mm.
I'm confused now. We got very
Talking
off
away
track.
from food. By
Yeah.
the way, for those who feel like that they failed and don't have quote unquote don't have any prospects, remember there are some like even service sector jobs out there. They do lead to promotions, and you can end up being grateful managers of places like McDonald's. And management
Mm-hmm.
skills are very, very useful. Very
And
useful in
also,
life.
Whoopi Goldberg failed one of her English tests. So if she's able to become famous with she's an author, right? Isn't she?
I also have a very good example, as I know someone that is an executive officer of a railway engineering company, and he
Ooh.
failed railway engineering at university, and he still got there.
Why am I now
So,
thinking
Finn,
you know him very much?
I know who he is.
As you can probably guess who I'm talking about.
Ah,
I
your
know who you're
favourite
talking
person.
about.
Anyway.
Yes, my favourite person.
Ah,
So,
yes, your
Finn,
favourite.
would you like to talk us through your education system? You can go into as little or as much detail as you want. Just, talk us through how far you've come in life.
Me?
Yes.
Yes, you.
There's no one else called Finn.
So, yes, I had to leave and come back onto
I
the
thought
call
you might
because
have
everything
left
just
out.
muted itself, so I had no idea what I was saying. But talk about
Okay.
GCSEs.
We'll just do the whole.
Yeah, you can do
go
that.
Do the
GCSEs
whole
onwards.
spectrum.
I'll start with common entrance then.
Oh, okay. We start young.
I'm going back then. I'm going to try and be quick.
Common
But
entrance.
I was moved to a school that specialises with helping children with English and maths. So there are lots of people that were dyslexic over there.
Is it Kumon?
Because I hated English. I'm the kind of person that would be getting E's in English. So they
back
E
when
for
they used
excellent.
Back when they used letters.
Yes.
Yeah,
Back when I
back
used
then.
letters. So what would that be in letters? Like a 4?
No,
Three?
no,
An
it's
E-
It'll
like
no,
be a
a two.
6. I'm joking.
It's like
It
a
would be like a
2.
2 or a
That'll be a
3.
2.
It's a 2 or...
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
won't be a 3. It's more like a 2 or 2.
It's like
Yeah,
like 2.
2. I don't
Okay.
understand the new system,
Okay.
by the way. It's just all political ploy.
Yeah.
Also, I had to
So-
do half my GCSEs in letters and half of them in numbers. It was
I had to-
ridiculous.
I had to do the exact same, and it was horrible. Especially when I got the actual grades, and I didn't know if it was enough to get into college or not.
I love
Like-
how you guys had to deal with that, and all I had was very simple letters. Because
Right,
A
Finn needs to
asterisk
keep
was
going.
very good.
Yes.
Anyway.
Anyway, back to Finn.
Okay, so I crushed the English exam anyway. I managed to get a C, which I was very happy about.
Wow, impressive.
Also, a term before common entrance, I was dragged into Latin as it's a very logical subject, and I'm quite a logical thinker, and I managed to get an A in that within just one term, which I was very happy about. So that, I think I only got 2 A's, and that was Latin and geography. And then it came
Nice.
to my RS exam. I actually slept through half the exam and got a D.
When don't you
Um,
get the D?
That's
how
impressive.
how did you get away with that?
I don't know.
Trust
But I
me,
did
I
that.
slept through my GCSE maths exam twice, and I still got A
Yeah, but then you
stars.
also.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah,
was
but
back
you're
in
Yeah,
the day
smart.
when you could afford to do that. But yeah, I got away with that. So don't worry, it is possible to get away with sleeping in the GCSE exam. You
Right,
just have to make it
let's
look
leave Finn
okay.
to
Yeah,
talk.
anyway,
let's let Finn talk.
Finn said he
I
wanted to
could
make it
talk about
short.
the time that I got 0% in an English exam, but that's a kind of a long story. Unless you want to hear it. Otherwise,
Maybe
I'll move on
later.
to GCSE.
To
Okay,
GCSEs, let's go then.
I'll leave it for later. So I went on to GCSEs. I went to a good school. And I did pretty well, I think. Again, still had trouble with English, but I managed to get a B and a C in the end, which I was very happy with again. And I really knuckled down on my maths during this time, and I was predicted a B. Within a week, I took that up to an A, and
Nice.
from there on, I loved GCSE maths because I'm weird like that.
Yeah.
Already told you about English, but then again, I also studied music, geography again, DT. That's where my love for woodwork came from. What else did I did? I did. Oh yeah, I also did French, and I did pretty well with that.
Yes.
But yeah, like I got through GCSEs. There's not really that much else to talk about with that. And then we
Moving
went
on.
on to A levels, and I started with
And we all
A level
cry.
maths and A level physics, which was the worst choice I ever made. As I think
Same.
there was only one time I got an A in a maths paper, and that's because I did it with someone else. And apart from that, every single other paper I got a U. So yeah, that was kind of a wake up call. So I don't know what that is in numbers. I think it's like a 1, or can you get zeros?
You can get 0. No, U is U.
U is
U
you.
is U.
Yeah,
Okay.
U
I
is
don't.
you.
Yeah.
And by the way,
You can't get a 0.
I don't think they do A levels in numbers.
No, they don't. A levels
Ah,
are
right,
still in
okay.
letters.
A levels are
Okay,
still in
that's a lot easier.
My A levels are letters.
But anyway, I dropped out of maths and physics, and so for me to keep doing 3A levels, I took up music technology because at that time I also started with product design and music. So then I ended up doing music technology, and product design. So yeah, music quite academic, which some people find quite surprising because they think it's just people fiddling around with their musical instruments and then they get a mark for it, but it's not that. Music technology, I got a passion for. I'm now doing lots of student radio stuff, so it's got me through there. And product design, it was just kind of a build up from there. So, and yeah, that was pretty much it as well.
Nice.
And then, of course, I went into university to study furniture and product design,
Yes.
which went. It didn't go very well. I'm just
No,
gonna say that.
it didn't.
Minnie and Oz
We all
know the
know.
consequences of me
Poor,
doing
poor,
first year. I've
poor,
now dropped
poor
out of
Finn.
that and I'm now going into real estate. But the product design course, I ended up doing like 3 all-nighters a week on average, sometimes 2, sometimes 4, and
I
it
still
was
have the image
awful.
of your cardboard chair in my head.
Oh, the one that's like hexagons.
Yes.
yes.
Oh, I'm so happy to say that is now in the rubbish.
Yay!
Congratulations.
But yeah, that is my education in a nutshell.
Pretty good. Oz, what about yourself?
My education starts in nursery.
Oh my gosh, are we
Are you
going
Oh
really
all the
gonna
way
make
god.
from
us say
here?
that?
I'm joking. It starts in nursery where somehow, due to racism, we managed to get a teacher fired. Um,
Hooray!
yeah, true story. But welcome to the early 2000s. Thanks for making me feel old.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
then when these guys were actually born, um I reached into primary school. I'm joking, of course, slightly in terms of how old they are, but in seriousness though, I had primary
Sounds about right.
school, no friends. I went from a person that needed special, when I say special education needs, like, I was a slow person, slow learner, but you could tell, I had some logical, um, thinking. There was a lot of logical thinking in what I did, which did mean that I ended up pre-filling my reading record and then being told off for pre-filling my reading record with basically everything except all you have to do is just fill in the day and what book I read. That's it. So, yay.
Yep, okay.
Moving.
were
You
told
strange
off.
child.
You were told off for making a schedule.
No, I was told off for pre-filling most of the reading record with the things that you're gonna write through anyway.
Oh, he didn't do the reading. He just claimed he did.
No, it wasn't
Nice.
that. No, you didn't get it. It's basically
Oh no, I don't.
I pre-filled, where it's obviously going to be 2004. It's obviously going to be not 2004. It's obviously going to be 2002. It's obviously going to be
Yeah.
this month. It's obviously going to be, this book.
I love how you
Yeah.
were
And then
reading
all you have to
before I
do
was
all you
born.
have to do is
Yeah,
fill in the
you-
date and sign. That's it.
You had only just
Yes.
started reading when we were born.
Yeah, we were not born in your reading.
Oh yeah, I
It's
was
so
reading.
weird.
I was reading quite interesting books as well already.
Right, keep going. We still haven't
Oh,
got past
interesting
primary
books. Tell me
school.
more.
No,
No,
I was
Finn,
not
we're
reading
trying to
Tremendous
keep going.
Tractors. Please watch
Guys,
Top Gear.
guys.
We need Minnie to talk about
But
Henry Junction.
but obviously I had friends, then had no friends. Went into secondary school, had friends again, but by the time I reached the middle set of mid primary, I went from the lowest sort of like echelon of um the tier in terms of who's the most academic, who's the least academic in the class. I went from like near the bottom to basically the top by the end of the my primary school years. Went into secondary school as one of the top students. So it was quite interesting how that went. Learning there was I learned more about social skills rather than education, because obviously I learnt stuff, but but schools do have a tendency of being rigid in certain ways. There's less flexibility because people are stuck in because there's no fresh thinking in schools, which is why academies are sort of a thing, because people want fresh thinking in schools. Doesn't work usually, but it does sometimes. Quite a bit of the time.
Keep going.
And no, secondary school GCSEs I did very well. Um, Although when I was actually there, I said I did terribly.
Obviously,
Yeah,
everyone
because I
does.
only got 2 A stars. Like, seriously. 2 A stars, 6 A's, 2 B's.
Yeah, terrible.
That was that
Yeah, terrible.
I personally thought that wasn't a great grade. But
Yeah,
then
no,
but then other people started saying, "Oh, it's a great set of results." And I'm like, "No, it wasn't. I wasn't satisfied." And that said something about my expectations. High but failing.
Keep going.
And
A levels.
it went downhill due to my mental health by A level, and also my physical health, because I dislocated my knee midway through year 10.
Hooray,
So,
Oz and his legs.
yep, which has led
They
to
had to
many
come
many
up.
years of memes of my right leg.
Right.
And
So
so mental and physical health paid paid dividends in the terms of me not being able to get into the university I wanted to get into towards when I finished my A level. Don't worry about. I didn't get the grades I wanted in A level, but don't worry about it. You know that there is a university that is always willing to take you. Take the
Mm-hmm.
chance. And I
If you
got.
fail, there's no problem.
Yeah, and fail, no problem. Because seriously, Coventry University took a hand and said, "Hey, I know you didn't get the grades that we wanted to see you get, but I can see through your what you've done in what you've done, your personal statement and your recommendations, that you are a good student. We want you on board." I got into university. Uh, First year was fairly easygoing because, unlike Finn, my course actually knows that first year is is sort of like a foundation year that you build up
Because
to
I
lay.
was already doing third year stuff in year one,
Yes, which is
and they
basic.
said that.
Yes, which is basically the sense of NTU. Please change your course. Please change the stuff that's in there because seriously, student satisfaction should be very low in comparison to Coventry student satisfaction, which is fairly high.
Yeah,
Um,
65%.
65% is actually
This is
higher
just
than I thought.
this is just going to
Well,
become a
compared to
universe.
100%, which is the course I'm going on to now.
Oh,
This
that's
is
oh
good.
just going to
good.
become.
That's
This is
good.
just going to become a uni competition.
Good.
Who's the better uni?
I
Good because serious varsity. At the end of the day, universities are very competitive and very, very, very useful. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it allows you to develop as a person because people are still remember when you are in school, you're still sort of like stuck in the structure. Once you go into university, you're much freer. My
Mm.
experience was I ended up going through more stuff in university. I had to go through some more adverse situations. The knee went again at a crucial moment in my third year. I still managed to drag myself up into a 2-2, and yeah, I'm doing this podcast right now.
yeah. And
So
Success.
Hansi got a
Woohoo.
degree.
yeah, and I have a degree
Congratulations.
in engineering of aerospace. Meanwhile,
Congratulations.
Minnie, what is your background behind your schooling and how lovely, lovely, lovely Cheltfurs is?
And the appreciation is
Shut
over,
up.
so we can now judge her.
Yeah, you cannot judge me. Okay, so I did the majority of my education in a foreign country.
Called Belgium. I'm
A,
joking.
It's
or
not
Baltimore?
Belgium. I did
You did waffles.
6 years of my not 7, 8, 10 years of my education.
Minnie can't
Uh,
count.
it's either 9 or
This
10
proves her.
years.
This proves her education.
Yeah, this proves how smart I am. I can't count like 9 or 10 years of my education in France. Completely in French. So I have that weird
Oh,
background.
that explains your counting because you count in French.
No, but okay,
You know
whatever.
what I mean. You know how the French numbers go.
And the French system is very different to the English one. Like you don't really learn stuff.
You don't
It's
learn.
really boring. You know, you go off and do 7 years of university after it. You don't learn. So it's really boring.
That
And so I
explains
did
many
that. But
things.
then now I'm at an English school. Things are going well. I got my GCSE grade that I wanted. I was really happy with them. They're better than Oz's.
Only marginally.
Really try.
Only
Really try to
marginally
avoid.
better.
You're really
And
trying
you're
not to say the
happy.
grades.
I'm trying because I don't want to make people feel bad because they're decent.
Minnie, I just told the truth.
Okay. Y'all, cover your ears, please.
No.
4 A stars, 6 A's, and a B. Right, you can
4A
uncover
star.
your ears again.
Wait, what?
4 A star, 6 A's and a B?
Yeah.
quite essentially slightly better grades.
I did 11 GCSEs. Yeah.
How,
And
She
I
is
was
mad, by the way. She is genuinely mad in real life.
I'm
She is.
I'm actually
I
crazy.
was not even able to do that many GCSEs.
Oh, I managed.
It
Everyone
is
else
entirely
did like
possible.
9 or 10, and I did 11.
In my secondary school, you were literally limited to GCSE pick plus the three main GCSE, which brings it to a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Wait,
7,
you had a
8.
minimum? You had a maximum of 6?
No, so
No,
you
I
have the
said
maximum.
7.
I
7.
said no. You have a maximum of 4 plus the three core GCSE,
Yeah,
and that's all
maximum
you
of
were allowed to
7.
do.
That's
7.
tiny.
Okay. Well, I did 11, and then now I'm doing A levels, and my A levels are French, Spanish, Business, and Psychology. So again, I do 4. I'm doing all 4 of them all the way to the end. No AS. Haven't dropped out. It's a lot. It's a lot.
You'll
It's
get there.
really a lot.
I haven't dropped out. Hangs over anyone who has.
I don't have time for a life, but I've got grades currently that I'm really, really happy with, and that can get me into universities better than Aussies and Finns. So,
Yes.
Hey.
But
much,
remember,
much
I
better.
actually had offers from the University of Surrey. So,
Uh, you know where I'm aiming for, so just
you're aiming for the dustbin.
yes.
She's aiming for the trash to come live with me.
No, she's
By
also
the way,
aiming
I'm
for
not
the.
aiming for Oxbridge.
No,
I'm
you're
not one of
aiming
those
for the
weirdos.
London Metropolitan University. I'm joking.
No.
You're
She's
aiming
aiming for the
for
O.
the University of Finbar.
Yes, that's where I
Yep,
would like to
I knew
go.
it.
Obviously, right
she's
there.
aiming for victory.
What am I aiming for? A fig tree?
The University of
Oh, that's great. So yeah, I have a pretty standard
Yeah,
education.
yeah, you're totally aiming for the London Metropolitan University.
No, I'm not.
I'm
I think you need
joking.
to aim for Oxford Brooks.
No, I love it when. Okay,
Thanks.
this sounds.
Go
For
to the
those who go to
reject
Oxford
one.
Brooks, this is a lovely joke
Sorry.
you can play on your people. When people say you go to Oxford, you go to university, just say and ask where do you go, and just say Oxford, and then leave a massive gap, and then say
Brooks.
Brooks,
So
because
they
Just
then
get
people
2 hours
for a
later,
brief
out of
moment
context.
will think that you go to like the really really prestigious Oxford.
Can I just say though, Oxford and Cambridge only. I mean, this is coming from my point of view, but I think when you look at the type of students that go to those
They're fairly
universities,
similar.
they're they're all quite like similar. They're not really looking for people who are very diverse. They want people who are like solely academic and people who will dedicate their entire life, heart, soul, mind to the course and won't really do much else.
Other
And
than
so they're
rowing,
not very
I don't think
other than
they
rowing.
want. I don't think they want your heart. I just think they want you to sell their soul to them.
It's not your typical university experience.
it's more of
Oh,
a it's more of a situation that and it slightly contributes amongst other socio-economic reasons to why there are lower amounts of minorities in Oxbridge, and
I
if you
mean,
don't
I
get
was
into Oxbridge, it's not the
yeah.
end of the world because there are a hell of a lot more prestigious universities in London. Cough, cough,
Yeah.
Imperial, which is very, very, very good.
Jeez, not Imperial. I don't want to go there. But I was told by people, they were like, "Oh, you're not applying for Oxbridge. You should. Like, you have everything like you need to go to Oxbridge." I'm just like, no, I don't want
Minnie,
to. Yeah.
you have made people in the chat count French.
Have I?
Yes,
deux,
because
trois,
if you
quatre,
count in
cinq, six, sept,
French,
huit, neuf, 10.
when you get past 20, is it when you get into like the higher echelons of towards 100, you get to ridiculous amounts of 20 plus 10 plus 30
Oh,
sort of thing.
no, it's so when you get to 70, it's 70, and so which is
60,
60.
10.
60 is 60, 10 is 10, 70, 70. You get to 90, that's 90, because 80 is 4, 8. 80 is 4 times 20 plus 10, which is 10, so 90, sorry.
By the way, this is French. What about in Swiss French?
Okay, in Switzerland, we have 70, which is 70, and 90, which is 90. So it will go like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. No, I think it might be octant. No, I think it's 80.
But
I
either
don't know
way,
for 80, and that's 90.
as you can tell, accents of French. We're getting quite sidetracked, but the French.
We got so
Yes.
But as you can tell, French is the type of French that is learnt in English schools, and that's what I got
What are
learnt.
you on about?
As opposed to
French.
Swiss French.
Yeah, they
Why-
don't learn Swiss
Why
French and
would
English.
you be teaching Swiss French? Why?
That's
A
the
quarter
point.
of Switzerland speaks it.
No,
That's
in
the
English
point.
in English schools they speak French. They teach us French, and because they teach us French, you get to listen to the ridiculous counting. Not a dig on the French, because the French are very good at many other things.
It's actually
Especially
quite smart
making
counting.
cheese.
Cheese,
I have
bread,
I-
wine, revolutions,
I have one
democracy,
thing to say about the French.
metric systems,
I have one
What?
thing to say about the
surrendering.
French. Baguette.
Also, you can't say surrendering. You've offended the France.
Oz, you have committed crimes.
No. I listed
Go-
I
go
listed
to
6
stop.
other
You have
things.
violated the
Although to be
law.
fair, aside from the French, now we have talked about our backgrounds, which has taken about 33 minutes.
Yes.
This is an interesting concept. With the people who have come who are who have come out of the lower echelon, the secondary school education, which is the year 7 to 11, and they have come out with GCSE results as of today.
Yeah.
Some schools still actually haven't even given out their results.
Some
Not
have
yet.
and some haven't.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm
So some
genuinely
of
just
you
going
are
off on
waiting.
one person who I know is doing GCSEs.
I know that both my brothers and also like most of my friends who are year below still haven't their grades.
Some have, some haven't. But either way, what is your advice for people who have not achieved the expected grades that they've wanted in GCSEs?
Find a course that accepts G's. Literally, my course was 4 G's or below, and a C in English or maths.
Yes,
So
if you fail English and maths, please redo them.
actually,
Hmm.
it's you legally have to do them.
Yeah.
If you go to college or sixth form, they will have you redo the exams.
Yes.
consistently
Separately.
until you pass, because it is a minimum requirement for a lot of anything to be able to
It's
reach.
government
Yeah.
requirement
I have
actually.
a very quick story related on this.
Go
Go
To
ahead.
do
on.
with my executive officer of friends with engineering. He had to retake English 5 times until he got it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one of
I know
Well, there you
someone
go.
in I know someone who has retaken English several times in college in order to try and get a passing grade. And Minnie, I know you know a certain person who has failed the core subjects with U's.
Oh yeah, but you just redo them. Like it's not like
It's not the end of
in
the world.
it's not like in Hong Kong or China where if they fail they don't get another chance.
Yes, in the
And
United Kingdom you get a chance. Um,
yeah, so honestly, like you don't have to stress over it that
Mm.
much because
Well,
you
I'm
do
going
get
to
another
do
chance.
I'm going to do a very mean stereotype here. In England, you have a chancery. In Asia, it's execution.
in Asia, I am an Asian, so
I
it
know.
doesn't always
Let's
work.
not talk about Asia.
Let's talk about a more welcoming country, like
Britain.
yes, yes.
The land of the Ingalls.
I actually had to say that, to be fair though, because if in every single other subject, if you don't get the grades you desire, try and as Selgom has said, try and find college courses that will accept you for who you are, not what you have gotten.
And yeah, choose something that you think would be really interesting to you as well.
Yeah,
Because I have a couple of friends who chose their subjects based on what their parents wanted rather than
Mm.
what they wanted,
and they're not
which
happy.
I know is not really a case for people in the UK because we're all quite open minded. But for people who are coming to study in the UK from abroad, sometimes their parents can be really
Pushy.
Overbearing.
like, yeah, basically
Yes.
force them to take subjects that they don't want to do. Um,
And it can lead
and
to
then
student unsatisfaction, depression, in extreme circumstances.
Mm.
no, but the thing is, it has, but like, there's nothing much you can do about it, and they're just like forced to do it. But yeah,
Mm.
so
I do
please,
have
this is
one
your
thing
own,
to
this is
say,
your life. Go for it, Finn.
and that is, you need to think about when you're going into university if it is worth putting the debt in. If it's a course that you can like really see yourself doing, or
Go
like
ahead.
if it's something you know you are going to enjoy, then by all means pursue it. But don't do a course for the sake of like a friend is doing that course at that university, because I know that that happens with someone I know,
Oh wow.
and it was someone that wanted to do music because a friend was doing music, but she does not like to perform music.
Yeah,
Right.
always ensure that whatever you want to intend to study, you enjoy, you feel like doing, you want to do, you want to be immersed into it, or at least when you are. This may sound very forward thinking, but for those who have reached their grades, who have reached the minimum passing grades that you get in order to get certain courses, in certain courses for A level, always don't think about just what you want to do um, now, like for your A levels. My advice certainly is if you are going into A levels, think about, are you going to go into university? Think about what you want to study in university now. I know it sounds early, but my advice is if you do that, that means you will know what grades and what kind of A levels that universities want you to have. So you take those courses, and sometimes you have to take the sacrifice of, I have to take this course in order to do a course that I really want to do in university, and it may obviously it will help you, but at the same time, if you are looking that forward ahead right now as a 16-year-old, um,
16-year-old,
Yeah,
yes.
15,
yeah,
16.
yeah, if you're a 16, 15 right now, think about what you're going to be doing in 2 years' time. I know it sounds weird, but you have to do this in order to ensure that you are in the best stead and best right frame of mind in order to be able to do the university course that you want to do and therefore progress. I know it seems early, but uh,
It's
it's crucial.
Not gonna lie,
Mm.
I didn't think about it that way.
I
Yeah,
was
I mean,
thinking
I
about
say
it
it's
since like
crucial
the age of
if you.
14,
I was about to say it's
and
crucial.
my ideal career and university studies changed about 3 times during then.
Yeah.
But
I
that's normal.
Honestly, I had no idea what I wanted to do.
I
Going into
still have no
A-levels.
idea what still have no idea what I want to do, which is actually affecting my course choices, which is a kind of good segue in case we want to talk about future education choices.
We are actually. I mean,
College.
I have no future education choices apart from master's degrees. But
Yeah, you finished.
yeah, I finished the route as we call it. And I'm now into the freelance. Like, if I want to do education, I can choose to do it as opposed to you have to do it.
I actually
You.
I like in my head I want to learn until I am 25, thanks to the use of an EHCP plan, which I'm milking it for all it's got.
Nice. What does that do?
So an EHCP plan is an educational health plan, and it's different for everyone who has one. My one personally normally gives me extra time, and I can either use a scribe in exams, or I can use a computer with spell check on for exams or lesson work. However, in my most recent lesson, not able to use either because you can't give food extra time to cook,
Yes.
and you can't exactly use the laptop in the kitchen.
Wait,
Not enough plug
wait a
sockets.
second. A scribe? Is that basically someone writing stuff down for you?
Someone writes for me, yes.
I'd love to
which
have
is
a scribe as like a.
which
No,
is
you wouldn't.
it's very annoying because the scribe, you can ask the scribe like to write things for you, but they can't give you synonyms or not synonyms. They can't give you like
Hints.
synonyms. Synonyms means different words for the same meaning, right?
They have to write down exactly what you say.
Yeah, they have
by
to write
by
down exactly what you
verbatim
say.
of what you've said. I mean, I'd
Are they
love to have a
quick?
scribe just in general. I just want to have a scribe in general life. Just to have someone write down what I say.
The worst time of having a scribe is when the scribe doesn't even know the word. So, like in my science exam, having a scribe was completely useless
Oh.
because then I would have to ask them to write something, but when they didn't know what the word was, I had to write it myself anyway, and also they couldn't draw like any of the diagrams or anything.
The graphs.
So yeah, so basically I had to always just do my own science to help the scribe, which was even worse. Like when I used a computer, like when I had a scribe, like kind of because they they can do all that stuff, but with a laptop in my exams, like the graphs were impossible. But at least I was able to get synonym.
That's not fair that you can get synonyms.
Well, like
I
I'm
didn't. I
I'm
just
very
sit there by myself with my paper and pen. My pen was my scribe. My hand did the work. My brain did the thinking.
my brain still had to do the thinking.
Okay, that's one thing in
I
common.
am very eloquent and quite like articulate, but it's sometimes good to have synonyms. But the only reason I had spell check on is because I had the use of a scribe. Because of my dyslexia,
Nice.
I was bad at handwriting and spelling. My spelling is now slightly better, but my handwriting is still like sickening.
Should go to French school. You have to do 3 years of learning to
Right.
like making your handwriting beautiful.
I did do 3 years
3.
of that. I did do 3 years of that, and it did not help.
Wait. In French schools, you have 3 years dedicated to writing,
Yes.
and you wonder why they spend 7 years in university.
Yes, so I can produce my very
Wow.
beautiful French handwriting if you ever need to see it. It's
Mhm.
very cursive and swirly.
The thing is, I'm okay at copying handwriting because I am very artistic. Like I can see
Ooh.
words as shapes rather than actual letters, and that makes it a lot easier to write them. Which is actually one of the reasons why I picked up Lord of the Rings Elven so easily, because it's so like beautiful as writing. But still, my handwriting is not the best, and it probably won't ever be again, unfortunately.
But that's fine.
I
So,
mean,
what else do we have to talk about? I feel like we've talked
Further
about some.
education stuff.
I've
Like
Yeah, we
already
were
further
talking about
almost.
further
comprehensive
education.
education, maybe.
What should we talk about? It was
It's a
basically
different.
it was basically how what advice would you give someone who hasn't reached the grades in GCSE?
yeah, just either like maybe redo what you can, and if you don't have anything you can redo, maybe find a course that's the same but smaller. Like my course is level 1 versions of itself, so entry level.
Nice. Finn, what would you do?
I would say don't panic, because one thing that I know for certain is that you can usually make the worst decisions when you're when you're heated up and like
When you're in a heated
stressed.
situation, yeah.
Yes,
Because when you say
exactly.
you were
So
heated up, that just sounds like someone's being cooked, and that's not
in the
really what you
oven.
want. Yeah, that's not really what you want to talk
This
about.
would have been the
Yeah.
best place to
So
clip.
I just used bad words there, but yeah, just be be calm, be patient, think about your options. Um, bear in mind you don't have to be going into university. There are many other routes you can go down, and then pick one that you think is going to suit you the best.
Yes.
And also,
Also
don't do
advice.
something because someone tells you to do it.
Yes, agreed there.
Advice. I've never been in that situation, but because
Yeah, I'm really hoping none of you ask me because I'm
yeah, my school
a bit clueless.
drilled you into passing at least maths and English. Um, but if you did not receive the grades that you desired, don't worry, be calm, and contact your school immediately what options you have. Always ensure that you have contact with your educational establishment or somewhere, your college that you may have wanted to go to and maybe you might have not gotten the grades to get in. Always contact the people that are there. Be proactive in contacting them and ask for advice. Constantly ask for advice. Constantly ask for what can I do to do this. What can I if I want to get into this course, can I do this so and so like a certain qualification alongside my current uh college course or something like that. I mean, with if you're doing English or maths, you will be doing if you get below a C or whatever the equivalent of is now in numbers,
A
I
you
think
4.
it's a 5. Is it 4
Four,
or
it's
5?
a six. I'm
four is
joking.
low. 4 is a low C. 5 is a high C.
I think we're gonna go with I think it's a four.
No, but what's the
Yes.
Thanks.
passing grade? Is it a 4 or is it
The
a 5?
passing grade is depending on the college. Most colleges look for 5s, however, 4 is acceptable in most cases, as it does count as a C.
Yeah.
Okay.
In old money or in my case current money, C. Always if you do not pass your English and maths, always ensure that you know where like always ensure and always ask. You can ask the exam board for your examination paper back. Speak to your teachers.
You
Who
have to
asked?
pay for that.
Yes, yeah, I do have to pay for that, but speak to your teachers about what you got wrong and speak to them about how you can improve, how you can get better, and what you need to focus on, so you know exactly where to focus your attention to in order to maximize the benefit that you have of retaking your maths or English. Um, for your if you don't get the grades that other than that, you don't get the grades you desire. Always be open-minded about your options as well. Don't discount apprenticeships, because apprenticeships are hands-on, work your rear end off jobs, and
work,
you earn
work your
money.
high.
You earn money, even if it's a small amount. You still earn money, and you get a qualification at the end of it. It is. It
No, you
depends.
don't. Those are degree apprenticeships.
I said you. I did. I said you do get it. You do get. You get a qualification at the end of it. I didn't say you don't.
No, I said you were talking about apprenticeships. If you get a qualification, it's a degree apprenticeship, and they're incredibly difficult to get one.
Yeah, but there's also
Like, to
there's
actually
also
apply for one.
there's also ones where you work in a I know a few people who have gone into Southwest Trains apprenticeships, where they work physically in workshops or whatever role they actually do for about 3 days, and then they have college 2 days or something like that. That
What's a degree apprenticeship?
Yeah, there's quite a few of them around, actually, to be
Because you
fair.
can do apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships, and they're two very different things. One of them, you just work and get experience, get paid for it though. The other, you work, get experience, and you do a degree on top of that. So it's a
Yeah,
lot
but
more work.
it's
not
not
for
necessarily
the
a
people who
degree.
want to party.
It's not necessarily a degree. It's like a qualification level.
It depends if you do it alongside university. It's a degree. If you
Minnie,
do it alongside something else, it's a...
you're thinking way too far. I'm talking about post GCSE, not post A level.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Have you been listening
Yeah.
to the
but I just-
podcast? Because you clearly have. I'm joking.
Well, look,
And I've
this
got a
is
fun Finbar
new to
fact.
me. Go for it.
At one point, I wanted to go for an apprenticeship in carpentry until I was, kind of peer pressures out of it to go to university. Just so you guys know.
That is
Peer
a
pressure
fun
by who?
Finbar fact.
Well, hey, I'm here all night.
Wait, peer pressure by who is the question?
Mother.
Yeah, always. Yeah, this may sound harsh, but can you please, if you are deciding what you are going to do, whatever you do, can you please, if you are pressured by your parents to take a certain path, and you do not want to do it, tell them politely to insert rude word off. I know it's something I really don't want to say, but the point is, you have to be
go
happy
away. That's a
with
polite
your.
way of saying-
You have to be happy with your education path, because it is your brain, your mind, your soul,
Mhm.
your voice, and your life. It's your
And
life.
they have to be happy. And they have to be happy with your choices.
Yes, because you are a strong, independent
Independent.
woman,
Individual.
man, dog,
No,
chase,
individual.
Spirit.
Individual.
spirit,
Individual.
mini. A
Yeah,
strong,
You're
indi-
a strong mini.
a strong,
Hmm.
independent,
mini.
2'1" dwarf. Hi, Minnie.
Oh. No, no, not high, low mini.
Low, Minnie.
Oh my gosh, God. Yes. Oh, thank you.
So, actually, we've scrolled on to that. Actually, during and also when you're doing your GCSEs and your A levels, ensure that when you are doing them, don't if you do have time, always try and make time for yourself, because if you overstress, you will end up, ironically, affecting your performance negatively, because you do
Like
have
me.
overworking
No
can
one.
actually
No.
affect your
No.
thing negatively. Yes.
Your mental
Sorry,
health
I
and
was
physical
making. I
health.
was gonna make a joke. No one wants negative. No one wants to work negatively.
Wow,
I mean,
I loved it.
during GCSEs, the thing that I did, on the side note, and throughout into A level, throughout into university, the one thing that I did personally was write a transport blog. And this podcast is sponsored by said transport blog. Visit them
Wow.
for the latest views
You've
of
updated the spot.
for the latest reports on London's transport, more specifically buses currently, at the WLTM transport blog. Visit them at their website www.wltmtb.co.uk.
Yes, I saw you updating the sponsor, and I was like, okay.
You had to wait for the plug. It took me a while to
Saucy.
find the perfect plug.
Right,
Hmm.
can I just say a little exam tip?
No.
Because, oh, wow.
Yes,
thank
yes, do it. But
you. Okay,
be
so what
quick.
gets me through I am.
What gets
Okay,
you
so what
through?
gets me through exams is not just solely focusing on the work, but also doing exercise. Because exercise releases fun hormones called endorphins.
Y-
And
It's-
they,
Dopamine.
I
Yes,
thought it was endorphins.
It's both.
it's both. And
Releases
also,
some fun hormones, which makes you happier and more productive and just a better person. And that's how Mother Minnie stays positive. Good night.
is it also is it also the same hormones that you get when you find something particularly exciting or someone particularly exciting? Some
I
similar.
think so.
So,
Dopamine, yes.
but not the endorphins. I'm sure they're endorphins.
Let's move on from this topic then.
Let's move on from the people that give you endorphins. I really wish someone could actually just give you an injection of endorphins.
Oh,
I think doctors can do that.
That would
probably
be
exists.
interesting. It's happy drugs.
Yes.
Except I would expect that to be quite addictive.
Yeah.
Duh.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have to be
Yeah,
addictive.
probably.
We do not condone drug taking, but this because it can have adverse side effects to your mental health.
Unless that drug is prescribed or is in some way positive to you,
Beneficial.
but in an official positive way.
In a very official positive way.
I'm thinking
Yes.
of two different types of drugs right here.
I'm just thinking of my smart drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was thinking of both medicine and medication. Calpol and
But
Yes.
for those who are going out of the A level bubble, who most people who are going to university have already got their places or have got it through clearing. For those who are still unsure, and for those who haven't got the grades that they might have wanted, what is your advice for them? Other than the fact that it's not the end of the world, and you can always find something somewhere at some point. And
Take a gap year.
Take a gap.
Yeah.
A gap year.
Yeah.
You know what? Go travel.
Relax
Go
yourself.
explore the world.
Talking of
Just need a
travel,
break
get
from
Find out
school.
more about yourself.
Get an Interrail. Travel around
No, they're
Europe
so
on train.
expensive.
No,
So expensive.
but an Interrail means that you can travel any. If you buy an Interrail in the UK, you can genuinely travel from wherever you are in the UK, go through to London, get a Eurostar, and explore Europe in whatever way you want to explore Europe. Some
I
people.
think
Yeah,
I
you
think
can
I'd rather
also-
just take a Virgin train. look and go find my boyfriend.
Mm.
I mean,
But yeah, during a gap year,
it
you
won't
don't
be a virgin
just
train by
have
the time you get
to
back.
travel.
Oh,
Like you can like explore a bit more into work and stuff, and like building up your skills.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
there's lots of stuff out there that you can get certificates for within your own home. I know this because I've got a certificate in a particular software that I did at my university that I know I'm not really going to be using, but it'll be very beneficial for someone that is in the design industry. And this is just something you can do during a gap year.
There you go.
Exactly.
Anyone else? Any other advice?
My advice is don't be too disheartened if you find something that you. There are also places if you don't have your grades you get. Also, there are places that are university colleges which are quite essentially colleges which give out degrees which are accredited by credible universities. One of my choices in my university list was one of set those. It was a if I do not get any of the grades, this is a place where I can go to. It was a sort
Backup
of
plan.
it was backup plan number 5. It was the last backup plan. It was the plan that I never intended to touch, but if something went horrifically wrong, that option was there. I didn't take it. I ended up having picking Coventry as my second choice, and I still got in. And I'm pleased to say that I got out of there with a degree. So it's
Mhm.
not too
Yay.
it's not too fussy. And if you're disheartened, don't worry. There's always a way. There is
There's always next year.
there's
Life
always a way.
finds
There's
a
always a
way.
place, and there's always a time for you.
Oh yeah,
And
something.
always sweet talk the people who are
Oh,
trying to do
yes.
your admissions. Sweet talk them. Make sure that you
Yeah.
sell yourself really well. Make sure that you are quite essentially advertising yourself, like I am advertising myself with my various transport blogs here.
Every week.
You've already
Can I
plugged
say one
each
more
of them.
thing as well?
Go on.
Yes,
Yes.
Finn.
And that is a lot of the time when you're trying to get the grades boundaries to go to a particular university, you don't have to have those grades because one of the ways is if the university likes you enough, you can get in. But secondly, the one that I'm really talking about is that there are other ways to get UCAS points. And if I'm looking at my previous course compared to the course that I'm now going on, the product design course, I needed BBC and I got BBC. But going on to the real estate course, I needed BBB. However, I've had 2 music exams that are pretty much like 2 extra Bs in A level, and that just got me in. So I didn't need to take anything else to get in there.
There's
You
always
can
a
also
way
do
to
other
find.
things.
Yeah, there's always
There's honestly
ways.
so many options.
I also have one more last bit of advice. Always accept your family's help, whether it be with studying for tests or work experience.
Because they know people
Yeah.
that you don't know that they know.
And they could probably help you, whether it be with a job or actually learning things that your teachers might not have given you full like tension on.
It's always hands on deck. Put your hands all on the decks. Because
Get everyone's hands and put them on the deck, and then make that deck nice and educated.
and shiny. And give yourself a shiny. Though
Yeah.
that I saw in the chat earlier, university isn't always as cracked up as you think it will be.
I'm
Because
terrified.
some people don't feel like the lifestyle of you have to study in a certain in a certain manner in order to get a degree. You have to be forcibly working with people that you will be working with people you might not like, but that's life.
Yeah, that's true.
That's life.
Yeah,
But
in
also
the-
especially in universities, when you do group projects, be prepared to be the person who does all the work.
Yep.
That
That's
that
what I had
was
to do.
always
that was
also
me.
and always also prepare for your other people to be absolute dog feces. Um,
Yeah, no, literally, like, in the drama course I got a free on, I was the only one tech, like, but that meant I had to do tech for not my group, but for the other groups as well. But I didn't get graded on them, so I had to deal with the Moti in the class whilst not getting graded for dealing with her.
Also, when you are doing group work and some of your fellow group mates aren't doing the work, kindly ensure that they are doing the work, or kindly check up on them several times. And if they are not getting back to you,
Scream at them.
speak to your project supervisor as early as possible. Tell them so and so isn't contacting us. So and so isn't helping us. So and so isn't doing what we asked them to do. And always screenshot any contact that you have with them to ensure that they can't say that they can't say to you, I've d- I've not received anything from them. No, clearly they have. Some universities, of course, do have a rate. Some university courses, or even some just like specific tasks, group tasks, might have where you vote other people's performance. That can happen. It really depends on what your project supervisor, the course director or the project supervisor wants. When you are going into your third year, I know we're going way far into third year university. Always ensure that you know what you're going to do for your project. You can always try to find things that you want to do. Um, always,
Well, it depends on the course for the third year because
yeah, it
I
depends
haven't
on
gone to university,
it
but I
depends. No, it
think
doesn't depend on the course. It depends on what you want to do in terms of within your course, because obviously it has to relate to your course. And always try and
because I
find a project
feel
supervisor who is willing to do it. Sometimes there are project supervisors who have like a certain list of, you know, projects that they want to do, and then you can slot into those. But some people I know have managed to in university propose their own idea and manage to get a project supervisor that they want to check up on them and deal with it. And yeah, always when you do, and yeah, you end up doing the project. And always remember, if you are doing your final year project, start your work the moment you get the project, because
Yes.
or even like even if you get the moment you get assigned a project, because it is a load of work. It is a massive ton of work. And
It's a huge amount of work.
yes, and sometimes it can be a gap of if you end up not doing a week up to a month's worth of work, you will fall behind so heavily. I mean, for example, I had to quite essentially redraft completely the whole scope of my uh, final year project because I had dislocated my knee in the final year. And that was the biggest setback I ever had in university. And I still managed to drag
congratulations.
myself through to get a 2-1-2-2, depending on some aspects of the project I got a 2-1, and some other aspects I got 2-2. So I got an overall 2-1-2-2. So I was on borderline. So it was a hard task. I had several late nights and all nighters. So yeah, uh, d- and it just goes to show, if you have a setback, don't give up, because you don't know how well you can perform. You don't know how, when you are set back, don't give up, because there is always a way for you to rise above your setback to be able to get yourself back into contention, to never give up, because you know that there is some belief in you that you don't know you have.
Guys, I have a question.
Mm.
Do you think it's possible to make it through life without doing an all-nighter?
No.
No,
University, no.
because I actually don't think I can do one.
If you were
I'm
doing
just not
university
capable.
part-time, maybe.
I
will not be doing
actually
it part-time.
trained myself to do one, and it's called going on night buses and getting photos of night buses, but that is a rare case.
Yeah.
You
For me, the
learn
way
very
I
key.
did it
So,
was
so
by drinking
Minnie,
lots of caffeine.
Minnie, don't worry. I will literally sit beside you and inject you with hot chocolate whilst you do an all-nighter.
Injecting hot chocolate is actually quite dangerous, but also
Depends where you inject it into.
yes, if you inject
The
it into
mouth.
the mouth, then that's not injection, that's just drinking it.
No, into your stomach. If you inject it straight into your stomach, then you just do the digesting, and it's fine. If you inject it into my blood, I will die.
Oh
Yeah, that's
yeah,
not
also
exactly what I
another
was
tip,
saying.
if you are doing all-nighters, don't rely on Red Bull.
Rely on
That
air.
messed me up a huge amount.
This sounds
Good
weird,
thing I
but
don't
rely on air. If you are doing
Mm.
Yes.
all-nighters, get outside. It's cold.
Yes.
Also exercise.
Yeah, exercise and go outside, because
Do
going
your
outside does wake you
all-nighter
out.
in your shed.
But
I've
yeah,
never done an
the amount of
all-nighter.
Red Bull I had messed up my sleep so much that I've had to buy sleeping tablets to like get back into my original rhythm before I went into university.
Yep.
Just
You
a
guys
heads
are
up.
making me tired.
Perfect. That's the
Hey.
point. And that's again
Any
your
Oh,
fault.
questions
for-
from the floor?
Yeah, Minnie, that's your fault for starting the podcast late.
Blame me, blame me.
Oh yeah, we're
Yes.
definitely going to blame you. Or
I
you.
don't blame her.
For the fact that you actually managed to get here in the first place is a miracle, though.
Who?
You to come back to the podcast after 2 weeks away.
Oh, I feel like I need to explain why I was away.
That happens just before the end, by the way. What is your advice for those people who are suffering mental health setbacks in school right now? Like, I'm not talking about university. I'm talking about A level and GCSE. I want to focus mainly on those two. What do you guys say to the people who think I can't cope? There is too much. There is because there are times where where people have gone.
It's
It's
much.
too much to handle, and I want to perform regrettable acts.
Fun things,
Tell-
right?
Yeah, I've got 3 things to say on this.
Talk.
Number 1, talk to people.
Talk
Like,
to your people.
Just generally talk to people how you're doing. That helps. Secondly, make sure that you do generally get breaks and rest. And if you're stressed, find ways to de-stress. Have a bath. That's a great way to de-stress. Listen to
I
music.
love baths.
Have like dedicated periods where you just have breaks. And thirdly, this is more on mental health in general. Like I'm not going to pinpoint a specific type of mental health, but if you are having mental health problems, try and find out what the source is. Because I'm going to use depression in this example, but someone could be depressed and like they just feel depressed, but then when you start digging at it, you find out that the main root of that cause could have been because they are lonely, for example.
Yeah,
And then you can try and fix that from the root rather than being prescribed drugs, which can be very useful short term.
but it can affect your mental
Usually,
They have
chemistry
side
long term.
effects.
a lot of the time it just doesn't really get better until you find the root source.
Yeah, it's a stopgap. Um,
Mm.
Also, I personally would say, because I actually genuinely got or had some mental lapses throughout my educational situation. Um, Always remember that there are people there for you. Always remember that you might find, there might be a teacher who you may not have the best chemistry with. You may not have the best, you know, you may not be performing the best in their class, but you may not. But remember, teachers are there for you to, they're there to get you to learn. And a lot of teachers have a duty of care to their students. They feel like that because they are looking after their students, because they see them every day, they see them all the time. It is a sort of duty of care to take care of them, to take care of, if something's wrong, they are there to help you. And there are plenty of teachers I know who have said that they would mind like staying back to just help explain something, and you know, don't worry about that chicken shop. Don't worry about the Morleys or whatever rip-off Morleys you can find. Don't worry.
Chicken shop?
Yeah, don't worry about what your people are doing what your friends are doing after school, because you only have one chance for your education, and
That's not what we were. That's not our
Mm.
motto.
you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You know what I mean though. Like after school,
Ignore the
um,
£1 chips.
yeah, ignore the £1 chips. Just remember that if you feel like that you want to, you need more explanation on something, and and you want help, the best time to do it is to speak to your teachers and like try and find a time for each other. And I know a lot of teachers are willing to help you understand what the concept of whatever something is, and they're there to help you. Don't feel like
Yeah,
that they're running a tug of war against you, because they are as frustrated as you are. Trust me, sometimes, and sometimes they don't really want to be. They're not there for the pay. Sometimes they're there for the fact that they are imparting knowledge onto you guys.
Can I just say they
yeah.
don't actually get paid that much, so they're really definitely not there for the pay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a well paid. It's not as well paid as you think it would be. Like
It
Tell
you,
that to
isn't.
you could
Tell
Here's
that
live
to,
something
off
else
it,
that I
but
think.
it wouldn't be great.
tell that to my English teacher. She left a government job to be a teacher because
Mm. But yet, something I feel like that should be mentioned is that you don't just have to go to the teachers for help, whatever it is. There are other solutions. One of them
yeah,
being family, friends, and
friends.
another one that I
Yeah,
think that we should mention is there's a thing called the Samaritans, and
yeah.
you
The
can call them up,
Samaritans. There's a
and
Yes.
childline.
however little the thing is, whether it's just from stress from school, didn't get the grades, and now you're unhappy, or if it's more of mental health issues,
They're there for you.
you can call them up. I think the number is something like 116
116 123.
123. Yeah, 116
How do you
123.
all know this? I've never heard of this.
One one six
I
one
Because
two.
don't
I
know
used them
it.
I
before, and they're
remember it
very
off the
good.
top of my head, by the way. Because 116, I have used 116 123 when someone
Yeah,
else has
same.
been in a situation, and I
Mm,
had stressed out over it. One one six
yeah,
one two three is there. It's manned completely by volunteers, um,
And you can
and
talk about whatever the problem is, no matter
mm,
how little
or
the
how much
problem
it
you
is.
think it may
yeah.
be.
The
They
Sam-
are
the
there.
Sam- the Samaritans was different in Ireland because I went to the Cliffs of Moher, which is
I've been there. I've been
same.
there. I've
I
been.
have.
I've actually been there. They're so pretty.
They are.
They're
But
actually
anyway,
beautiful.
they had signs saying Samaritans. If you needed to call, this is the number, and it was different. It wasn't something. It wasn't the one number you just
Well, if you're Irish, look it up because we can't help you.
gave.
There's
Sorry.
can be other options in Ireland, I'm sure.
But Samaritans was in Ireland as well, so
The cliffs of Moher are so beautiful.
I have 4 collector coins from there.
Oh yeah.
I have one, I think.
If you notice on rail stations, there are obviously some small Samaritan signs.
Mm.
Yeah, you get
Because
them at Nottingham tram stops as well.
any
But also,
rail station, any I know it's any rail station, any high bridge, there are the number is always plastered.
though also Childline is also numbered on those places, so yeah, don't get them confused.
Samaritans is always there for you. It's 24
Yeah.
hours, and it's personed by volunteers. And
So I have
All
one
my
thing that
DMs are always open if you guys want to vent to me.
oh yeah,
Yes.
just totally go to Minnie. Like,
And
literally
me.
just go to Minnie. Like, just tell Minnie all of your issues, please,
to Minnie.
because seriously, please inundate her with all your issues.
No, don't inundate
Go
me.
to Minnie, but if Minnie's busy, come to me. If I'm busy, go to Oz. If Oz is
No,
busy,
don't.
No,
then
Oz will never reply.
Yeah, because
And
I'm
if-
always busy, in some way or another.
yeah, that's true.
It's just very weird. Like, yeah, I can somehow always be busy. It's because,
Mm.
blogging, running a transport blog is high maintenance. Running a UK first server is also high maintenance. Running this podcast is medium maintenance.
Low maintenance.
Medium maintenance because I have to edit.
I'm here. Right.
No, I'm the
Should
one
I
that
talk
edits.
about my life then?
Your life somehow is less relevant than the podcast. I'm joking. It's just as relevant as the podcast because you literally have not been here for 2 weeks, and the people want to know why.
Do they actually
But
though?
well, yes. But also,
Yes.
before that happens,
Oh,
I still have something I want to say to people who struggle with mental health things.
He's gotta interrupt me.
Yeah,
Oh my
do it.
goodness.
Do it. Say it.
I'm going to say that remember that after you've like finished your final test and you're told you can go back home for a break, remember that you find your own control of your life. You can choose what you want to do, where you want to go, what you can wear, who you can talk to.
So, for these past 2 weeks, I've been all over the world. No, I've actually been moving house.
No,
And
you've
I
been
went to...
you've been in the air.
I've done a lot of flying. I think I've taken 1, 2, 3, 4
5,
flights.
once I caught a fish alone.
You
Thank
took
you.
4 flights. You
You're
took
4 flights
Yeah.
in 16 days. And yeah, I was moving house and then I went on holiday to Spain, which was lovely. I love the Spanish people.
which is where my
Not
boy
the
is
English
right now.
tourists, but the Spanish people. yeah.
Really, really, really. So you're gonna go against my boy right now
Yeah,
on
I am.
podcast because he is
Oh, I
right
just
now in
did it.
Spain.
Oh yeah. I said I don't like the English tourists in Spain, but I like the Spanish.
Minnie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Minnie, apparently someone wants to invade you because of...
Someone wants to invade Minnie.
Not evade, invade.
That sounds wrong.
There's
That's
no
not my
contact.
boyfriend.
Does your
There's
boyfriend know about this?
Is this my boyfriend?
No, because your boyfriend is
I know he doesn't listen to this.
No, he doesn't listen to this. He doesn't know about this, and he doesn't really
He does
give
know
it.
about it.
Oh, he doesn't care
Minnie-
about this. He just thinks,
Minnie-
it's just some random thing that she does with
know.
her bestie.
No, she's
He's
about to be
okay.
conquered.
I'm about to be invaded, so
No, Minnie's already been conquered.
maybe you won't see Minnie next week. I'll be invaded by the person in the comments.
So you really want to be invaded by the user named Cody the what? The Cody the Fox?
Cody.
Oh, wow. Cody, thank
The
you
answer
so
would be
much.
no, because other
Yeah, it's
people
our
have already
choice.
because other people have already invaded Minnie.
We need to move on.
No, we're not moving on quickly. We're going to move on slowly because that's how she likes it.
Ugh. And also because
It's
this is
your turn.
it's funny.
Yes.
Who here is entertained?
Who isn't
Me.
here entertained? Because we are currently in 127, and also I'd like
I'm
to.
not entertained.
Yeah, but I'm the person hosting, so
And I'm
It's free against
co-hosting.
it's free against one.
it is free
Sorry.
entertainment as well. Anyway, so hey.
Yeah. Everyone
Also,
else gets to laugh.
also,
Yay.
talking of we're going to scroll back into education. I want to ask you guys this. Are there any teachers that stick out as being overtly eccentric or some aspect of a teacher that you will consistently remember since? We'll start with Finn.
Putting me on the spot like that. Yes, in common entrance, they had a guy. I'm not going to say his surname.
You don't need to
but
say their name at all.
yeah, maths teacher, a great guy. When we were learning about like making like 3D shapes and nets and stuff, he just told us to be creative. I made a Minecraft pig,
Okay.
Wow.
but yeah, aside from that, he was generally the best maths teacher during the whole of common entrance, and I've had like 6 of them. And
Nice.
like he used very old fashioned equipment. Like he had a chalkboard, but like he
I love how you call that
was
old fashioned. That's what you have in French schools.
Chalkboards are also what you
You
find
always
in
write on
universities.
compared to all the other classrooms at the time that had smart boards.
Oh
Ooh,
god, smart boards were awful
fancy.
Mm.
in very weird ways.
They always
Yes,
broke.
and
Clunky
very few with
2008 smart
whiteboards.
board.
But yeah, he had a chalkboard. It was the only classroom that had a chalkboard. But like, it was part of it was just the way that he talked, and he was very enthusiastic. And also, that brings me on to my science teacher at Common Entrance, who is just a legend. I actually spoke to him only 2 years ago, and I do see him almost on a yearly basis, apart from well now. But he is a legend. Like he keeps blowing stuff up for like chemistry and stuff.
Oh, I
He
love
set
the
the floor on
chemistry
fire.
department.
You know what?
Setting metal.
I've had 2 great science teachers. He was one. Then we go into GCSE. He was just amazing, the GCSE guy, and to the point that I genuinely wanted to take chemistry as an A level at one point.
Same. And then didn't.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you saw the
Well,
error
the
of
thing is, I
boys.
was advised not to
Yeah.
Oh,
Fair enough.
all
by
my
him,
teachers were
but he
begging
did
me to
have
take it.
like valid points, and I could tell that he wasn't very comfortable talking about something like this. But it was
He
more of
wanted the
the
best
way
for
I
you.
learn. Yeah, he wanted the
Yeah.
best for me.
And that's why I like teachers who look out for you. In a way.
I have a really funny
Go
guy
ahead,
who
Minnie.
taught me. So in year 9, my physics teacher was the young version of a mad scientist
So
with the crazy curly hair that sticks out like he's been exploded by a bomb or something.
he looks like your
Straight out of
stereotypical.
uni.
Oh,
No, he
straight out of
wasn't straight
uni.
out of...
Yeah, that sounds like someone who would be straight out of uni.
Yeah. Wanted to be a lawyer, but decided he needed some years of training first before going off to be a lawyer. So he did. He taught me physics. And he was just a very energetic guy who didn't really know what he was doing in the classroom.
Yes,
Highly entertaining.
physics and
And every time I
correlate.
asked him questions that weren't in the textbook, he could never answer. But he was funny, and now he's a lawyer. So hats off to that crazy man.
Because physics and law correlate.
Exactly.
To be fair, physics and a lot of things correlate. To be fair, I said to be fair thrice. Celegorm, is there any special teachers that you'd like to give a shout out to in a sense?
Define eccentric.
Define eccentric.
Yes,
don't
because
need-
I don't know how to pick a teacher because they've all been kind of mundane. I did not like.
Oh, so you've never had the teacher that had any eccentric traits or just anything that stood out?
Other than his name being Dr. Fox. That's it. That's literally the
Ooh.
closest.
I know someone with a family named Fox.
I know someone with the family name Wolf, so
No, Oz, you also know someone with a family named Fox.
Liam Fox.
No, I'll tell you in PMs.
Alright.
But like
Liam
that's
Fox
the
is the
only
international
that's the
choice.
only thing of any teacher I didn't hate.
Ah,
Because like every other boring, except for this one teacher who every day we saw him, everyone had a different nickname for. First it was Pegasus, then it was Pegasaurus, then it was Peggy Sue. so
Peggy Sue.
Yes, he had a new nickname every like lesson we had him. It was
It's quite funny.
yeah.
Well done.
Pegasus was my favorite,
Of
and
course.
he hated Pegasaurus.
I mean, personally, I had several interesting teachers. One I actually managed to accidentally slide in a sort of not necessarily a prank, but more like a hidden joke for about 3 years. Um, I managed to
What was
slide a hidden joke for 3 years. There's this. I had this science teacher who was a specialist in biology, really engaging science teacher, managed to get me into. We ended up dealing with a science club. There was a science club in our school, and we did some
Ew, gross.
after curricular things, dealing with science.
Extracurricular.
Yeah, post curricular.
Extra.
Yeah,
Extra.
extracurricular. Extra. Halifax gives you extra.
I'm gonna leave this podcast.
No, you can't. But but with the with all that, we ended up going on trips. We saw the Surrey, University of Surrey, commercial space center, which involves obviously satellites mainly, and work for EASA, which obviously
Yasa?
which actually sparked some sort of like interest in uh dealing with not necessarily dealing with rocket science, but rocket science is a lot easier, but yet also a lot harder because it's more about trajectory.
I'm guessing Yasa is European NASA.
Yes, it is. Also, the hidden joke that I managed to get was, um, we had to do this. We did for some a little bit forensic, just like base forensics. In the sense of, with like not clay, but something like molding or fingerprints. And it's a long time ago, by the way, so bearing in mind my memory is hazy. But yeah, for the poor listeners, I want to talk about the thing that I actually managed to execute. It was this, and we had to make profile names for criminals. And somehow I managed to get most of the profile names up, and you ended up having Terry Wrist and Peter File. Um,
Oh dear.
Wow.
yes, and I managed to evade
And
any.
Mike Hunt.
No, we did. I didn't get Mike Hunt in there because I only managed to get two names in there,
Oh
and
right.
because of the sly wordplay, no one in the science department knew for 3 years that I managed to get away with, and because it took so long, when the science teacher later on came up to me and said, "You did that. You managed to get these puns." Like, yeah, and she was just like, "You you're cheeky." uh, and
Wow, to
like
put that.
she knew that she couldn't punish me for it because it'd been up there for 3 years. So she couldn't do anything about it because the science department was proudly displaying Terry Wrist as a criminal.
It's official, Oz is a cheeky sod.
Yes, it is
He's always
official.
been
I've been a
cheeky.
cheeky sod for a long time.
Yeah.
Another
You
memorable
saw him on Saturday. He's so cheeky.
yeah, another memorable teacher was my physics teacher. They're not the one that none of the physics teachers I particularly had a liking. No, I had one physics teacher who was actually kind of good that I liked. But the rest, there was one who I didn't like as much. But I remember one time he just showed us hurling. In a physics lesson, he showed us a hurling match and just like how exciting, how fast paced
Was he
hurling.
Irish?
Yeah, it is Irish. Yeah, he is Irish,
Uh,
and he was just promoting Irish sports in physics, and I couldn't describe that. And there was and the final one is my history and English teacher. Um, Throughout school, he was very flamboyant, had flamboyant ties, um, was the kind of person that would shop at House of Fraser. Oh wait, because he genuinely did.
Wow.
He genuinely shopped at House of Fraser and openly talked about it. He was the person who was he was South African, had a yeah, you could tell there was a slight camp demeanor, but it was just like engaging and
engaging.
funny, and he was well liked. I don't know if he's still at school, and yeah, it was good. I dealt with him from year seven to I think in year seven in terms of history and English to year 13 in history. So I dealt with it every single year, and it was, and obviously he got to know you in terms of a personal manner. He knew, you know, he knew
All
obviously.
about your loving relationships.
I had no relationships in school.
All my
Remember
teachers know about my relationship. It's quite funny.
what? Because they have a group chat.
They literally. Okay, this might come to surprise to all of you, but my bestie, who's not Oz, another different bestie, was in
Another bestie.
her.
You're
She's
cheating
on
on
her
Oz.
tutors. Yeah, I am. Anyways, she's on a. She's with her tutor, and her tutor popped up this email all about me and my boyfriend, which he was sending to like 8 other teachers, all about how it's official. I'm dating my boyfriend.
Somehow.
And I sent it around to all the teachers. It's like teacher gossip. I was so embarrassed. Like, it's so funny. It's so weird.
The only reason, friend, is because my whole class was screaming about how it's, but it isn't in England.
Say again because it cut out.
No, the only reason my teachers my current relationship is because my class were arguing with me very vocally about how my relationship should be illegal because I'm dating a 22-year-old whilst I'm only 17.
Wow.
But that is not illegal. Check
No,
the
it's
UK
not.
law.
I don't know much about it, to be
Well,
honest.
either way, we've strayed into
Either way, I think we should
Yes,
probably
we
wrap
we
things
we
up
I
here.
mean I think we need to.
back into episode 5.
Yeah, we need to stray into we've dealt
Finishing
with
this up.
schools and exam results, and my question to you guys, we'll start with a 22-year-old boyfriend. Um,
Mm.
um, older or younger than me is not the question, but the actual question is anything else to add? Anything about education that we haven't covered that you want to speak about?
Do
Yes.
your best.
I believe learning efficient than learning with. That's literally it. That's all I have to say. Until someone else piques my interest.
Piques your
Oh,
interest, like your
oh.
boyfriend.
Oh, for
Mhm.
God's sake, Oz, shush.
Well, your boyfriend definitely will be pinky your interest.
Santa.
Oz, I have one
Whoa.
word for you.
What?
Bub.
Uh... um, Finn.
Look how
Yeah.
it makes him feel.
Anything else? That
Yeah,
you want to add other than that?
yeah. Education is really important, but it doesn't have to be official education, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense
you
at
can
all.
learn
But what I'm
anything
talking about
anywhere.
is you don't have to go to university. There are other options, as you were talking a lot about apprenticeships. One thing that I'm doing as well is I'm going into the world of entrepreneurship, which the bad thing
Yes.
about it is that it isn't guaranteed that you can make a living through it, although if you do push through it, you can make it work. But I'm just saying that there. But one thing that I'm doing through that is I've paid for a mentor, and if you want to learn like a particular skill, the best way you can learn is if you have a coach or a mentor and someone who is like in the business, because maybe you're for I'm going to
Someone is
talk
making
about
a
this,
zip
but if
noise.
you
Could
are
it please
in
stop? Thank you. Keep going, Finn.
if you are in school and you have a science teacher, maybe that teacher is just a teacher that knows a lot about science and is teaching it on. Like there's this guy called Robert Kiyosaki that will call that teacher a fake teacher because he hasn't had any industry experience in relation to whatever they are teaching. So in this case, science, or let's say it's chemistry. But if you get a mentor of someone that maybe used to work in the defense with like nuclear bombs and stuff, uh, like for example, they have industry experience and you can learn a lot more from them.
Yes.
I know it's very
Yes.
long-winded, but
No, it makes sense.
What
All
about Minnie? Is there anything else you want to add?
Just work to your capabilities. Like, don't not work.
Don't waste your potential.
Don't waste your
Everyone is
potential.
worth something.
yes.
Yes,
Celegorm just phrased it way better than I could have ever done.
because
Thank
you're not
you.
very good at phrasing that.
I'm also
But
very
she's
tired.
not as bad as me when it comes to
I-
phrasing.
Because I have a magic way with words.
And that's how you get people.
And
That's how
that's
you
how he
get
got his
22-year-old boyfriend. Me and Finn
Thanks for
think of the
saying
same
what
thing.
I wanted to say, but I didn't want to say because I wanted someone else to make that joke.
I love how me and Finn literally said the same thing. Right?
Thank you
Yeah.
guys for doing
we
something.
we think alike.
We always think alike,
Yes.
Finn. This is why we
Yes.
would be business partners.
And my advice for my follow up is this: remember, it's not the end of the world if you don't get the grades you want, but it is a path to
Failing is
rethink.
feedback for learning.
One
Yes.
door
There's
closes,
there's
many
no problem
others
if you
open.
fail.
Yeah, fail, no problem. Always ensure that you have other avenues, and
Alternatives.
and don't overstress yourself, because if you overstress yourself, then you won't be able to pursue and develop as a person yourself, as well as perform the best you can academically. And there are many ways to to rest, many ways to explore what you are capable of, and one more unusual way is to YouTube, to do YouTube, or at least make a YouTube account and spurt out podcasts every single week. You can find these
Don't
podcasts
copy us.
On the YouTube channel WLTML1 Group. Find them at the link in the description below, www.youtube.com/user/WLTML1 Group. And along with that, I also managed to end up dealing with a transport blog, which has now gone on from when I started back before I actually no, when I did GCSE. It was the WLTM transport blog, and it's still going, and it's even got its own custom URL now with www.wltmtb.co.uk. And those are the words from the two sponsors we've got tonight. You want to know what I'm handing over this week from my left hand to my right hand?
I would
A
love to
£2
know.
coin.
No,
My couscous that I haven't eaten yet.
I know what I'm handing over this week. It will be some pork mince.
Oh, I saw
What
those.
the heck is that?
Minced pork.
Gross.
Wait, why have you just got minced pork laying around?
Because I'm creating
No, Oz,
food.
A mince monster.
you should put your train ticket to or bus ticket to Heathrow from one hand to the next, because we're doing that on Friday,
Minnie,
and that's buses.
that's
Yeah.
an Oyster card, and it's not really.
Yeah, put your Oyster card from your left hand to
Put your
right hand.
Oyster card and amateur
And
trans.
shove it
No,
up your...
you can't. You can't do that one because I know exactly
I'm
what it
sorry.
is, but you can't really.
Because censoring.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
we're on a
Sorry
podcast.
about making your editing job.
And we give thanks and praise to Finbar.
Yee.
We give thanks and praise to Celegorm.
Re.
We give thanks to Minnie.
Oh, no praise. Okay, I see.
We give you a
And we give praise to Oz.
Yay! I don't need thanks because I just get praise. And
Okay.
on
I
and
don't need praise, I just get thanks.
and
you
on
get appreciation.
and
Oh
on
no,
that
don't bring that up.
and on that bombshell, it's time to end.
Good night.
Thank you
Night.
and good night.
Bye.
Bye.